Hi, I'm Brian Cook. I'm the lead for Coaching for Family Success. You're also going to hear in this presentation from a co-trainer of mine, Amber Wade. Together, we created the curriculum for the Coaching for Family Success class. Let's start by covering the operating principles set forth by Kim Fredlin and Dan Hahn. I bet many of you have seen the video that they created that gave an overview of these. These really became the backbone of our objectives for the class. They were our building blocks. If you look at the operating principles, we have the vision and mission, and then the principles outlined. Those really allow us to achieve our mission and vision for the agency. The first objective that we can delve into is state the components of heart set, mindset, and skill set. This embodies all 5 of the operating principles. These are foundational concepts that you're going to see throughout Self-Sufficiency Training Units classes in the next year. We'll explore them a bit more here. They'll provide a framework for how we approach working with families. The second objective is name the specific impacts of experiencing poverty. This gets at family engagement. That's the operating principle it relates to. First and foremost, poverty is an experience and not an inherent attribute. We utilize an analogy of a ravine. Experiencing poverty is like standing in the bottom of a ravine. In class, we explore the ravine better so that we can understand those experiencing poverty and the impacts it has.
Poverty can create many challenges. People in poverty can view the world as if they were at the bottom of a ravine. Things like scarcity, trauma, and depressions, such as racism, sexism, ageism, and privilege, are brain drainers and can cause our participants to have tunnel vision. These are topics our agency hasn't broached in the past. Our job as family coaches is to help people on their journey out of the ravine.
The third objective that we have is identify screenings and assessments the family coach conducts. This relates to family engagement and collective impact. DHS is in the process of redoing how we conduct assessments with families. We're required to assess families so we can better help them achieve their long-term and short-term goals. Assessment looks pretty bureaucratic right now. You're probably familiar with some of the ways that we conduct it. We have the 7823A, the 7823B, the 421, GAINS, and the 7802. That's a lot, right? And even the application gets at some level of assessment. The way that we've done assessment has had some unintended consequences for our agency as a culture and the families that we serve. We want to be the place that people come to when they want change in their life. While we wait for a new process of assessment to be developed, our Coaching for Family Success class teaches that assessment is an ongoing process that happens constantly throughout your interactions with the family. It's organic. The class speaks to how we offer screenings, but the key word is that we offer screenings. No one is expected to be an expert per se in mental health or drug and alcohol or learning needs. We offer screenings and then based on those results and the family's goals, send them for full evaluation with a qualified professional. There is a strong focus on normalizing the offerings of the screenings that we provide. We teach techniques and tips in class and allow for practice and role play, both with peer and instructor feedback. We also teach the specific screening requirements and how they relate to the program. Throughout the entire assessment process, though, it's taught in class that it's all about choice, and it's the family's choice. It's how will that help them meet their goals. The family coach just facilitates the process. The fourth objective that we have is list the 4 types of information the participant and the family coach should learn from assessment. This relates to family engagement. Dr. Beverly Ford came to DHS to help us with our way we do assessment and interact with families. Due to the recession, we weren't fully able to implement some of her practices, but now we're in a place that we can do that. We still utilize her expertise throughout the entire class. She identifies 4 things that assessment should provide to both the family and the coach. The 4 pieces speak to our heart set, mindset, and skill set. In class, we explore the 4 pieces and how they can be used to assist the family in achieving their goals. Our 5th objective that we have is demonstrate basic knowledge of interviewing techniques that facilitate and support change. This is about the operating principle of professional development and integrity and stewardship. This is about our toolbox. What skills are we bringing when we work with families? In class, we begin to build a skill set rooted in credited techniques such as motivational interviewing. These skills take a lifetime to practice and master. If I gave me a table saw, for instance, right, I'd probably hurt myself without any instruction or time and opportunities to practice in a safe environment. That's the same with the motivational interviewing techniques. Even experts in the field would say that it's a lifelong process of learning. In class, we provide all three, right? A safe environment, opportunities to practice, and instruction. It's important to note, though, that outside of class, it's going to take dedication and commitment to continue on with the skill building and not revert back to the kind of older ways that we may have engaged families. Just like our real tools, our tools in our toolbox need to be sharpened and well maintained. Our sixth objective is create jobs plans collaboratively with families to meet their goals. Economic stability and family engagement is what this objective gets at. In some respects, we've become the place where families come to say X and get Y, right? The benefits, the grant. Kim Fredlin really envisions a broader self-sufficiency program where people know that we're the place that they can come to when they want change in their life. For some families, that might mean employment or the pursuit of it. And others, it'll look different. It's important that the definition of success comes from the family. What change do they want? What that will be is going to be as diverse as the populations we serve. We teach a concept called coming alongside. We have to meet families where they're at. We do so through the skills taught in class. There are several iLearn trainings available that our units produced on plan building and how to document it in tracks. Plans should be robust, right, if success is defined by the family. What are their long-term and short-term goals? It shouldn't be generic like we have maybe seen in the past, like find employment or become self-sufficient. Our scope is so much bigger. The focus is on what is the family's long-term and short-term goals and how can DHS support them in that process. We're not defining their goals. The seventh objective that we have is research and compile family engagement in tracks. This is about integrity and stewardship, those two operating principles. The goal of tracks is to capture family engagement. We all recognize that the system that we have isn't perfect or the most user-friendly. Our unit has created a lot of tracks trainings that are now available on iLearn, ranging from basic navigation all the way up to how to work your alert lists. Some of these are prerequisites for the class. Some are taken in class, and then there is time for students to access their own families that they're working with and receive instructor support on how maybe they can better capture engagement or issues in tracks. We go over all of the tracks features in class that are vital for capturing our engagement. We cover policy and best practices as well. Our eighth objective is relate family engagement to the jobs disqualification policies. This is about the operating principles of family engagement and integrity and stewardship. We explore in class the policies around re-engagement and approaches to it, which may sometimes result in a family choosing disqualification. The primary focus, though, is on how to do so without compromising our heart set, mindset, or our skill set. The set of required hours of participation is not the focus at all. Instead, we get very curious and engage the family when we lose connection or their participation in the plan. Meaning, what's working for the family? Even if they're doing just 2 hours, the question is, why? What enabled or motivated them to do that? Then what's getting in the way? And we're going to start with their strengths first. Another question is this truly their plan, or was it our plan alone? People choose to participate in the activities that they find helpful or beneficial. Lower plan hours are acceptable when it's in the highest good for the family to achieve their goals. We can meet them where they're at and build from there. The word re-engagement has come to have a negative connotation to it, or we look for blame in failure in the plan. But it's not about that at all. Truly, it's an opportunity to look at the plan and connect deeper with the family, and it's not synonymous with the grant reduction. We speak to this and more in the Coaching for Family Success class. Family coaching is not a passive practice. We teach techniques in class that enable us to do what we call rolling with resistance and supporting families' hard choices. If we push back or are oppositional to resistance when a plan's not working out or when we're engaging with a family, then what we're going to create is the experience of discord in the relationship. And discord is just that, an experience. It doesn't have to be that way. Even if a family chooses disqualification, we can come alongside with them and support that hard choice that they're making. We do not personalize the disqualification process. It's about choice. Coming alongside does not mean that you're approving of or disapproving of certain behaviors on an individual level. We explore this and more in class. TANF isn't for everybody, and it may not be their path out of poverty or the ravine, and that's okay. Our 9th objective is how to support families while they transition off of TANF. This is about family engagement, collective impact, and economic stability. Family coaches continue to work with families after the grant has ended. There are several benefits that help ease people through a transition off TANF. There are programs you're familiar with, such as the exit limit increase, transitional benefits alternative, the reduced copay, and employment payments. We teach these transitional benefits in class, as well as new concepts to DHS, such as high risk, high support. Our final objective for the class is demonstrate use of the staff tools page and the family services manual to find needed information. This is about integrity, stewardship, and professional development. The class has several interactive activities that gets people navigating and looking at both to find information. This is critical as retention has been studied in adult learners. We may not remember all that we experience in a class, so we need to know where and how to find the information that we need when we're back on the job. You just saw how the objectives for our class relate to the operating principles set out by Kim Fredlin and Dan Hahn. Hopefully that gives you an idea of what you'll experience when you come to Coaching for Family Success. Our units also developed a catalog of iLearning trainings that are available to field staff at any time to take right now. I look forward to seeing you guys in class. In this segment, we're going to look at when family coaching is most successful. It's most successful when it's participant-led, meaning that we avoid what we call our writing reflexes. Remember that the participant is in the driver's seat regarding their plan. We do not force or put or place people into activities to fit ours or business objectives. The power dynamic is shifted. The participant knows what's best and what's going to work for their family. It's most successful also when it's culturally responsive. We're all raised and born and enveloped in cultures, and this socialization begins at a very young age. It informs how we communicate with each other, and it shapes how we receive information and our thinking process in both groups and on an individual level. So we're culturally responsive when working with families, and we recognize the importance of including a participant's cultural references in plan building together and what engagement looks like. Strength-based is a term that's thrown around a lot, but we know that this is what makes family coaching successful. But what does it really mean? What are the tools? What does the application of those tools look like in a self-sufficiency program setting? In class, we define and explore just that. Family coaching is most successful when it's trauma-informed. This is really about the lens or awareness that we bring to the experience of poverty, because we know that poverty brings trauma. And trauma really is just a part of the human experience. Everyone in their lifetime will experience some level of trauma, no matter your walk of life. Throughout class, we explore this concept and its application to our work. Family coaching is most successful when it's non-judgmental. Most of us would say that we don't judge, but when we really dig deep, we all do. We have to judge. Judgment is a part of our hardwiring as human beings. It is what's kept us alive. It tells us, eat this, not that. when to cross the street. Our judgment happens instantly, within seconds, and sometimes subconsciously. We teach that judgment is our friend in family coaching, and it is just for that reason. It's helped humans evolve to the point that we are today. In class, we explore getting to know what we call our individual triggers, because we're all going to have judgment. Judgment's our friend. The role of self-care comes into play with judgment, because we are hardwired that way. We just want to be able to send judgment away when we work with families and invite over our friend curiosity, because they are much more helpful. Family coaching is successful when it's a partnership, and that's a word we're all familiar with. However, what does that really look like in practice? There's a perceived power dynamic attached to the title government worker. We have to recognize that. Sitting in the place or the side of the desk that we do is a privileged spot. In class, we focus on skills that truly build relationship and ways to flip that power dynamic and have a real partnering with families. These skills take a lifetime to master. Family coaching is not passive. A partnership is one where both are contributors. Family coaches can offer guidance, resources, and opinions, and we can do that while honoring family choice. And that's what we teach in family coaching. Family coaching is successful when it's individualized. There is no right plan or exact words to use with one family. A breadth of skills are taught in family coaching, and it's up to the family coach to pick which tools from the toolbox are going to be beneficial for that family in that situation. Family coaches get to practice what makes family coaching successful in class through case scenarios, group activities, and individualized reflection. In class, we ask that people challenge themselves to do so. The challenge zone is where we learn. We work hard to create a safe environment in family coaching so that people can get out of their comfort zone and lean into that challenge zone. Many of the topics and skills we explore in class take people automatically out of their comfort zone, such as topics like racism. The challenge, though, is where we learn. If you think back to all the great lessons you've learned throughout life, most of them probably came from challenging circumstances or struggles. I sure know that mine have. We ask people to dare greatly, speak their truth, and share their experiences in class, both the good and the bad. And we do many role and what we call real plays. This class is very interactive and asks for self-examination often. Where we don't want to put people is into the red zone or the danger zone. This zone is very mentally taxing, and it gets our adrenaline pumping too much for learning. Only you can take yourself out of the red zone. Only you can take care of you. There's a big focus on the group exploring what pushes them into the red zone and honoring that without any judgment. Self-care is very important in this class.
It was really just more taking a step back and looking at the big picture, not trying to just process a case and close it. It was more of what is going to work for this customer long term and what's going to work for this customer so that they'll be successful in our program.
The way that we show up with families is taught in Coaching for Family Success. And the way that we stay grounded in our work is with 3 sets. It's our heart set, mindset, and our skill set. Heart set is about how we approach our work. It's the beliefs and values that we're operating from. Our work is all about persistence, creativity, and hope. We're persistent as we recognize that the work we do is often challenging. And we don't give up on people or families. We hold hope for them and will sit with them in their most challenging situations or circumstances. And we have an unconditional positive regard and commitment to collaborating with families experiencing poverty. We don't quit. Think to yourself before you meet with a family, are you holding hope for the participant, no matter how they might be challenged or you might be challenged through collaborating with them? Or are you pessimistic? Are you limiting options Or are you getting creative to find a plan that works for the family within our program boundaries? We have to actively work on our heart set to keep it healthy, so we in turn can achieve our agency's mission and goals. We're creative in our approaches. We don't keep doing the same thing that isn't working. For instance, if a family consistently does not show up to an appointment or is having trouble accessing a resource, we can offer to go with them or even drive them if that would be in the highest good for the family to achieve their goals. There is no policy at central office that says we cannot transport families or participants. That being said, local areas do have procedures in place. Check with your local office and area. And we're not saying that we would do that for every family. Remember, equality isn't equity. It would be based on what the family identifies as helpful. Another example of creativity could be around a new parent finding childcare. The family coach could offer to help outline with them what's important to them in a provider. What types of things are critical to them and why? We'd be a sounding board and a resource. All the while, however, the participant is in control. They are the decision maker. When the family coach has something to share, it could go something like this. Brian, do you mind if I share something? Wait for a response, and then most likely if they say sure, I heard you say X, Y, and Z was important to you in a provider. A question you might want to ask is blank. This would be a private conversation and never in front of a potential provider. But note, the power was not taken back, nor was the participant told what to ask. We could also support them while they interview potential providers in their home, at the office, a park setting, Starbucks. We're not doing the screening or selection of the provider at all, but we're there to debrief and provide support along the way. This is what we call a concept of coming alongside. Those are just two examples of creativity. You can probably think of many other ways, and I challenge you to do so. Hope is something that we aren't typically trained on. We think we know it when we see it, but how many of us actually do beyond somebody articulating a wish or a desire? There is a lot more to hope. In family coaching, we teach ways to identify and hold space for a participant's hope.
Getting down at the level where they are, learning to ask the right questions, learning to have the right mindset, right heart set, the right skill set. Those are the three biggest things that I learned. And for heart set it's where you are in your heart. And really understanding why are we here doing this business? We sometimes take on jobs, and as an engagement specialist, I've always loved working with people. I think that this training to get the people really realize is that why are you doing the job that you do? You're here to help people. Of course, our job is just self-sufficiency, but it's bigger than that, really trying to figure out how can we engage our customers.
Mindset is how we show up with the people that we work with. What energy are we bringing in? How are we thinking about the people or families that we're collaborating with? Our focus is on capacity, strength, potential, and opportunity. It's not about problems, failures, or obstacles. We work with people to address their problems, not that we work with problems to address people. It's the other way around. The main aspect of mindset is an unshakable belief that participants are the experts in their own lives. Often, because in this profession we care so much, we want to fix. And this is referred to as the righting reflex. Arguments for change have to come out of the right mouth, and it's not DHS's. It has to come from them. People know what they need or want to change. If they don't, that's fine too. We can come alongside as they explore that. Mindset is a daily practice. It takes time to search out and consciously recognize our intention. What outside stressors are we bringing in or demands that are impacting our ability to connect and be fully present with families and honor that they're the experts in their own life? Self-check by asking yourself those questions. because you can choose to reset your heart and your mindsets if need be. We all have bad days and complicated lives. Being intentional with our heart set and mindsets will influence the types of relationships we're able to form with families. Skill set is how we do our work. It's all the strength-based tools and practices. We teach many of the tools throughout class, but instead of calling them, this is Dr. Ford, this is motivational interviewing, this is active listening, trauma-informed care, instead of isolating them as specific skills, we teach them collectively as our skill set. There are many tools in a family coach's toolbox. Some people come to this work already with a background, and some people just do those techniques naturally. In class, there are ample opportunities to practice and broaden our skill set and hone those skills and sharpen them. Sometimes people refer to these skills or tools in the toolbox as a pendulum swing in the way that we do our work. But the truth is that the recession and other factors really inhibited our ability to do the work the way we've always wanted to do it. The difference is that now you have the permission and ability to do so. That's what family coaching speaks to. Let's break down the skill set a little bit more. Within the skill set, we have 5 skills or categories: creating welcome, identifying strengths, enhancing motivation, working with ambivalence, and supporting hard choices. These are concepts that were adapted from Multnomah County's assertive engagement training. Creating welcome applies to many situations: meeting with a family, group events, delivering hard news, or home visits. The list goes on and on. In class, we explore techniques to create welcome. One example is a technique or tool called 3 for Free. That technique was first introduced at the Family Coaching Summits in 2016.
By creating welcome, I'm establishing a positive connection from the very beginning. When I check in with my participants, they are more familiar with who I am. They're not so intimidated to hear that, hello, it's a DHS call. My name is Ashley. They're more, hey, I'm really excited. Like, I haven't talked to you, since last week. Guess what? This has happened with my kid. And they're really excited. I get to work with customers one-on-one and really see their progression as well as hear about their progression. And it's really, really amazing.
Let's look at our next component, identifying strengths. Here's how we define it. We notice, highlight, and support our participants' strengths, passions, and values. We actively work to find those strengths and redefine those that others may not have maybe seen or mislabeled for them throughout their lifetime. We see participants as the experts in their own lives and experiences. They have strengths. Even the most challenging, or what we might call difficult person you've encountered in your work life or private life has strengths. They may be hard to see at first, but I challenge you to find a strength in that person. For instance, if someone cursed me out or talked to me in a strong tone, I can see that as negatively, or I can see it as one of their strengths, as, hey, they're comfortable enough in themselves and our relationship to tell me that. They aren't afraid to advocate for their family's needs. There's many ways to look at it. We all have strengths. Instead of using checkboxes or a list or saying, Brian, you didn't check a strength on this form, in family coaching, we teach techniques that really draw out people's strengths while normalizing it to just be a conversation. One example is a technique called scaling. Take the bureaucracy out of it, and we get real with people.
Enhancing motivation is centered on families' identified goals. For instance, if a family wanted to secure housing and DHS wanted them to do job search, the family may not be very likely or motivated to participate in job search if they don't see that lack of employment as a barrier to meet their goal. It's important that we see the barriers together. People engage in activities they find meaningful and helpful. Enhancing motivation isn't about getting people to do what we want them to do or prescribing any solutions. It's about coming alongside where they're at and truly helping families achieve the changes they want. That is what the coach in coaching is all about. Notice we're not called family, friends, buddies, or pals.
The way that we collaboratively discover a family's goals is by exploring with them first, what do they like about their life? What's going well? What do they not like about their life? What do they hope for their family in the future? And what resources and strengths did they bring? Not what resources does DHS have. It's important that we discover these things together with the family and that we're not answering these questions for them. This is why the initial and ongoing assessment with the family is worth taking the time to do.
Ultimately trying to elicit from the participant, from their own mouth, what they want to achieve and how this will benefit them, as opposed to telling them, that this is something that they need.
The motivational interviewing techniques that are taught in Coaching for Family Success take a lifetime to practice and master. Experts in the field assert and advocate for this. We use what's called OARS for motivational interviewing, and it stands for open-ended questions, affirmations, reflections, and summaries. These techniques are explored and practiced through real and role plays throughout class. They're constantly brought up. It takes commitment, though, and vigilance after class to continue to practice the skills.
The OARs are asking the right questions so that you can really hear from them. The A in affirmations is to affirm what they're saying back to you. There's a skill of doing that. There's the tool of reflections of what the participant is saying to you. And then there's a summary. And you'll learn that in terms of summarizing, again, what they have said to you.
Ambivalence is not at all synonymous with indifference, laziness, non-compliant, or any other term or label. It's a place to get really curious and non-judgmental. Ambivalence is part of being human. We're all ambivalent about something right now. I guarantee it. Ambivalence is feeling equally two opposing ways about the exact same thing: decision, person, place. For instance, a smoker who is thinking of quitting may love the stress management, getting outside and such, and on the other hand may really not like any respiratory problems that come with it. We hold space for ambivalence neutrally, without any judgment. If you reflect back to the speaker their point of ambivalence, on one hand this, and on the other hand this, then they can grapple with tipping the scale in either direction. This is called a double-sided complex reflection. There are ways that a family coach can help tip the scales so the family can keep working towards their success and pursuing their goals. We explore this in class. We want to hold space for ambivalence because if we don't, then what we're likely to encounter is resistance. When resistance happens, we teach a concept in class called rolling with resistance. If we push instead of roll, then what we create is the effect of discord in the relationship. And this isn't good for us or the family. Our last component of skill set is what we call supporting hard choices. Here's how we define it. We provide increased support and encouragement when our participants take calculated risks that help them move towards their goals. Supporting hard choices is about a concept called high risk equals high support. Many partner agencies already utilize this concept. It's new to DHS. What it means is that when someone gets a job or tries an activity, we have to recognize that they are daring greatly. What might look like a small change to an outsider can actually be quite complicated. If it's a new activity, then maybe it's actually a big change to their family's established routine. We all like consistency. Maybe there aren't a ton of natural supports for them in their lives for even trying this. If we know that, then we can plan for it. We get creative. It'd be based on what would be most helpful as identified by the family for them to meet their goal. It might mean increased engagement. We could go with them to the activity. We could even transport them. We can meet with them before or after to debrief. This could be over the phone, it could be at Starbucks, it could be at a park. public setting, or their home. Those are just simple examples. Remember, our work is all about persistence, creativity, and hope. If you catch yourself not being hopeful about a participant's potential success, that is a mental flag. This is a situation where high risk should equal high support. We get really curious with the family about what they need to be successful and how confident they are with the use of a technique called scaling. I encourage you to explore high risk, high support in your local area, and don't be afraid to think outside the box.
Supporting hard choices also takes us back to our mindset. It tells us that people are the experts in their own lives. As in the case that there are times the highest good for the family in order to pursue their goals may not be our benefits or training program. And that's okay. It really is. It isn't personal against us or the program. It's not our place to judge. We want to get curious instead. If this is around program requirements, then let's look at what's working for the family now. How much of it is their plan? When we talk about the program requirements or the problem, we remove any I statements. We frame the conversation around choice, because that's what the program is. It is what the family has chosen as helpful. Here's how a conversation can go to illustrate supporting hard choices. So Brian, TANF is a Cash Plus training program, and that usually means that we look at what the highest good for your family is. So we want to take into consideration everything that's going on with your family and build a plan around that. And your plan was to do job search, which seems like that wasn't working on some level. And so the program says next month that your benefits will be lower. And we could talk more about that if you like. But I'm curious in general, how do you think we should proceed?
We just looked at the 5 components of our skill set, and we know that these are important and applicable to the work that we do. We know that they are from common factor research that was done. A study was done that looked across social services throughout the United States, and the question was asked, what led to participant or family success? How did they actually meet their goals? And the results that they found were pretty revolutionary. 40% of what worked was the participant, their family themselves. Where were they at in stages of change? What resources and abilities did they already have on their own? 30% was the quality of the relationship they had with the service provider. Was it healthy, and was it collaborative and engaging? 15% of what led to family success was hope. Did the family have hope or a vision for the change or the better life that they're seeking? In Coaching for Family Success, we teach ways to identify hope and hold space for it for our participant. We practice looking for it and having sharp eyes and sharp ears. The last 15% was the program model itself, the actual benefits like the SNAP, the ERDC, TANF, or the JOBS program. In the past, there may have been pressures that made us focus more on the program model instead of the other 85% of the pie. And we really want to be the place that people come to for change. And we know that this approach and working this way with families will lead to that and them meeting their family's goals.
I think a whole strength-based approach is just extremely valuable to engaging with our client population. Just adding more humanity, approaching our participants with more compassion, more empathy, holding back judgment is a huge aspect in effective engagement. In my years of the work that I've done, overcoming the power dynamic is probably one of the more crucial parts of what we do. Breaking down that barrier just creates a more meaningful relationship with our participants. When we're able to do this, we're able to build trust with the families that we're working with. And when we build trust with our participants, we're actually able to help them and elicit better participation and buy-in into the program. In terms of identifying strengths, that comes along with identifying hope within the families that we work with as well. Sometimes, hope isn't always something that sounds optimistic and positive. So it's important to listen for hope in their language.
In order for us to focus more on the 85% of the pie, we introduced a tool into Coaching for Family Success. It's called the Jobs Menu, and it's a menu of activities. This tool can be used with the participant and family or not, depending on the family coach's style. What the menu does is it categorizes the different types of jobs activities that are available and puts them in layman's terms. We want to focus on what is the family doing currently right now. Most people are not just sitting idle, right? 100% of the time. So what are they doing, and does it have a match with one of our jobs activities? We'd want to capture that. The tool can be used to explore different options or activities that the family might choose to engage in. The important part of the tool is that it's a menu. Just like at a restaurant, you get to choose. This is the case with our participants. They get to choose the activities that they believe will help them meet their family's goals. Remember back to our mindset? Participants are the experts in their own lives. They know what will work and what will not work for their family. Hopefully you have a better idea of the 5 components of our skill set and why we know they're applicable and valuable and will work for our families to be able to meet their goals. I hope you're curious to come to Coaching for Family Success and get a chance to practice the 5 components of our skill set and incorporate them into your practice when working with families. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you in class.